And welcome to another JavaScript tutorial with Ezekiel the Mac. If you like this video, please smash the like button, rate, comment, subscribe, and share. Now today we're going to be talking about iterative methods in JavaScript. Now what exactly is an iterative method? Well, it allows us to access each element in an array. Now, as part of ECMAScript, these 5 iterative methods were introduced to JavaScript, and they are namely the following: every, filter, ForEach, map, and sum. Now these are all methods that, as I said, were introduced as a part of ECMAScript 6 in JavaScript. So we'll go through what each one actually does. So the first one, every, returns true if the function returns true for every item. Filter returns an array of all items for which the function returns true. ForEach returns the given function on every item in the array. The item itself has no return value. Map runs the function on every item in the array and returns the result of each function call in an array. And finally, sum returns true if the function returns true for any one item. So let's examine some code. We're going to go through each one of these in turn by way of example, just to illustrate how it works. So let's examine some code. Okay, so here we have a variable which holds an array of numbers from 1 through to 10. We've called it nums. And here we have another variable called everyNum, which references the nums array and the every method of that array. Also included here are 3 parameters, namely item, index, and array. Now firstly, item represents the actual value in the array. Index represents the position of the particular value in the array. And array itself returns the entire value of an array. Now in most cases, you're not going to need to use all of these arguments. In this particular case, we're using the item argument, and that's the only one we need to use here. We don't need to return the positional index of a value in the array, and we don't need to return the array in its entirety. So what we have here is a statement that says if the item is greater than 10, or if all the items in the array are greater than 10, return a particular value. If not, return another value. So in this case, we're saying if every, which is the method we're using, item in the array is greater than 10, then we should return a value of true. If that's not the case, we should return a value of false. Okay, so let's console log this to the screen just to see what we get. So log every num. And again, we're asking, is every item in this array greater than 10? But as you can see, that's not the case, so it should return a value of false. And lo and behold, it does. So if we suppose we could change the condition and said, is every item less than 0? Or every item greater than 0 rather? Well, as you can see, every item is greater than the value of 0, so it should return a value of true. So let's run that, and it gives us a value of true as expected. So now we move on to the filter method. So we'll change our name slightly, just for the sake of reference. So we'll call this filter num, and here we'll replace every with the method filter. So here we're going to filter, for example, items greater than the value of 5. So that should give us values from 6 through to 10. Okay, so if we change this to filter num, save that and run it, it should give us values from 6 through to 10. And lo and behold, it does. Okay, so if we clear the screen and we change our condition, so let's just say we want everything that is less than 4. Let's see what it gives us. And it gives us values 1, 2, 3, which are clearly less than 4. So we'll clear the console and move on to our next method. So our next method is ForEach. So we'll change the variable name to each num, just for reference purposes. Change our method to ForEach. And now for here, we're going to say for each method, we want to console log the value of each item and times it by 2. So meaning that 2 times 2 will equal 4, 3 times 2 will equal 6, 4 times 2 will equal 8, etc. Change this to each num. Console log this because we're console logging this in our one-line statement. So we should be able to just run this and it should times all our numbers in our array by 2. And it does. So 1 times 1 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4, and so on and so forth. So that is the ForEach method. We now move on to the map method, which works in quite a similar way. So again, we'll change the name of our variable for reference purposes. We'll call that map num, and then we're going to change our ForEach method to map. And here we're going, as opposed to timesing it or multiplying each number by 2, we're going to actually square each number. So meaning, and when I say square, I mean that 2 times 2 will equal 4, 3 times 3 will equal 9, etc. So those are the values that will be rendered when we run this. So just to double check, yeah, we've changed our variable to map num. Our method is map, and we're squaring each number as we iterate throughout the array. Okay, so we'll run this. And as you can see, it has squared all of our numbers. And finally, we come to the, once we clear the console, of course, we finally come to the sum method. So we're going to say, change our variable to sum num, and our method to sum. And here, condition will be so we're saying here, if some of our items are greater than 100, then return true. Well, that's obviously not the case, so this should actually return a value of false, if all goes well. Console run this. So again, we're saying that if some of the values in our array are greater than 100, return a value of true. If not, return a value of false. So let's run this. And as you can see, it's returned a value of false. Now conversely, once we clear the screen, conversely, we can change this and say, if some of our items are less than the value of 100, it should obviously give us a value of true. So we'll run this, and it gives us a value of true. And that is our last and final iterative method in JavaScript. Now, if you like this video, please smash the like button, rate, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace.